Incoming message.
Welcome, agents, to episode 92 of Behind the Scanner. Our special guests tonight are Atis from Latvia and Mason from Texas. Welcome to the show. Have a question for our guests? Join us during the broadcast in our live chat room on our website, behindthescanner.com, or you can submit questions through the YouTube Q&A tool. If you know someone who would make a great guest, submit their information to us at behindthescanner.com and click on Guest Suggestions. Subscribe to our channel and watch previous recordings on YouTube. For all the latest updates and news, follow us on Google+. And now, your hosts of Behind the Scanner.
Yay! Welcome everybody, and hope everyone's having a great evening. We've got another edition of Behind the Scanner. I'm Daphne from Washington, D.C., and my co-host tonight, if you remember her from last week's really awesome Go Rec episode, Kelly Colton from Chicago.
Hey Daphne, thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So tonight we have an awesome show ahead. Joining us for the Weekly Truth will be David Timothy from Operation Essex. And for a look inside the scanner is Dean Nielsen from FevGames. And of course we've got some guy named Andrew giving the code of the show. So anyway, we'll get to all that pretty soon. So in the meantime, please welcome our guests, Atis and Mason tonight. Welcome, agents.
All right. Well,
don't get too excited.
I know. So first, let's hear from you guys about where you're from and what you do. So I'll start with you, Atis. You're from Latvia, and what is life like in Latvia? Like, what do you spend your time when you're not ingressing?
Well, it's not warm here. It's Northern Europe, pretty small country. You raised up some interesting background of me, like mountain climbing. It's not a thing I do very often, like once in a year or two, but it's pretty relaxing, like walking in the mountains for a few days, then some harder parts where you have to actually climb the rock up with special equipment. So yeah, that's about it, about my hobbies.
Okay, well, so maybe a little bit more specific than mountain climbing. You mentioned cliff climbing. Is that any different than what we typically
That's what we call the whole thing together, because to get to the cliffs you actually have to walk for several days with the backpack and everything. So yeah, that's a combination of just walking the mountains and rock climbing.
It sounds like some good Go Rec type of training as well.
Yeah, I did pretty good in Go Rec. That helped me.
Yeah, Go Rec.
All right. How about you, Mason? Tell us about where you're from and some of the things you do.
I'm from Austin, Texas. I work as a lifeguard trainer, and if I'm not working, then I'm in school. And if I'm not working or in school, then I'm playing Ingress. I'm studying chemical engineering right now. I'm a sophomore. I'm just taking basics still. So.
Oh, wow. And how did you choose that field of study?
Actually, I was really good at chemistry in high school, but then my favorite TV show, Breaking Bad, turned me on to the whole like chemistry and like taking that career further. So,
okay.
Passion for chemistry sparked.
So did you find that there was a big spike in that field of study, kind of in the way that after CSI, a lot of people really wanted to be forensics investigators?
Yep, that's definitely, a lot of the professors will tell you that.
Okay.
Very cool. So it's always interesting to hear how a guest got started with Ingress. Sometimes it's pretty surprising. Mason, did you discover the game on your own, or were you introduced by someone else to it?
I discovered the game completely on my own. I was watching Netflix, and then an episode of The Office ended, and I was very bored, so I Googled really cool strategy games. And then Ingress came up as a high suggestion, so I downloaded it, and that's kind of how it started. Just found it by pure luck.
Very cool. You never know what you're going to find on a Google search, right?
That's very true, yes.
And how about you, Atis? How did you get started with Ingress?
Well, I'm a tech geek, so I read a lot of news, and I stumbled upon an article on Slashdot. It had a page to get invite, sign up for invite and beta testing, so I signed up, and months later I got the invite.
Oh, so that was very early on then, November 2012 or so?
Yeah, something like that. I got the invite on December.
Yeah, so it's been a while. Now, what keeps your interest in the game?
Well, it's anomalies, shards, and a lot of people I know.
All right. And what did you say is your favorite part?
It's anomalies and traveling to get to meet people.
Right. And, well, what are some of the places that you've visited?
Oh, for last years I've been all around the Europe. Like on every series I'm on at least one site. So it's Barcelona, Florence, Berlin, Krakow, a lot.
Okay. And do you have a favorite place that you would probably visit even without Ingress?
Yeah, well, I have been traveling a lot before, so it's I know those places. I like Barcelona. It's a really nice city. I like Paris. I'd like to go there for Ingress. I haven't been there I have been there only before Ingress.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's a lot of exploring to do over there. And how about you, Mason? What keeps you coming back for more?
The competition and then the community, I guess, are the main two things. I really appreciate the competitive aspect of Ingress.
Okay, and I've heard a rumor that you're a big fan of shards as well.
Yes, yep. The old school shards where they would sit at a portal for an hour and then jump anywhere, hour after hour. So you had to camp pretty spontaneously for about 3 days.
I was going to say, how long had you been involved with a shard?
There's some that I followed all the way from operator-wise, not in person, all the way from spawn to their target. So it's been a lot of time.
Miraculous stories of those Herculean heroic feats that you helped facilitate?
Not anything super crazy. I operated for a few that scored in California. And then there was one that ended up in South Texas, so I just got in my car and then drove all 4 hours, got there, and then camped all the way overnight, just keep track of a shard, playing with a couple of Houston res.
All right, so, and past viewers will have heard the groans between me and Jorge, especially, about some of the shards, and, I mean, no. Although I think when it comes to the flash shards, I mean, I am heck yeah. If they did return the traditional shard type game, what sort of tips would you share to help encourage the pessimists like us?
Try not to quit. You just gotta, I don't know, bring a six-pack and hang out with friends and make a barbecue out of it. Try and have fun while you're sitting in the middle of nowhere watching an imaginary object. So
All right, so yeah, make a party out of it. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, that's probably and maybe you wonder if that's why it's kind of sometimes hard to make a party out at 3 a.m. in the morning in the winter.
Yes,
But
you have to be very spontaneous.
all right. And Atis, I mean, you had kind of mentioned shards as well. Um, did you mean the traditional shard game, or did you mean the flash shards?
Well, I never been on flash shards yet. I hope to get to
Okay.
some. But yeah, traditional shards were pretty interesting. I agree completely with Mason, and I kind of miss that stuff. It made you not well. It was tiring. I didn't get to sleep for weeks, but it was also pretty exciting.
So for everyone watching, I just want to remind you that you can actually interact with us live on our website at behindthescanner.com. And if you go onto our website, click on the chat button up at the top, and you can actually interact with hosts and guests and other viewers. And this is a great way to submit your questions. So that is my little PSA. Getting back to it, so shards and in Ingress, there's a lot of strategy that goes on into the game. And I was wondering, Atis, what advice you had for players who are preparing for either a big anomaly or a big operation?
Well, read the documents. Like seriously, everything is in the documents. And follow the instructions, of course. Be aware of surroundings.
So being aware of surroundings during the anomaly while you're running around?
Yeah, exactly.
Has that ever been a problem for you or anyone on
No,
your team?
I mean, check out the portals near you, not only one portal.
Okay. Cool. So, Mason, you had talked about playing strategy games with your dad. Would you say there were any games that best prepared you for, either Ingress anomalies or operation strategies?
There were no external games that really prepared us for the operations or the anomalies, but what we both did together to prepare for anomalies is we just watched Intel like normal people watch TV. Is we'd be watching TV here, then have the Intel screen here, and just studying over and over to figure out patterns and like.
Okay, wait, go back. You play games with your dad, and so was this like since you were a kid, and it's just so. What sort of games did you guys play?
Like Civilization, Battleship, chess, such like that. Mostly like really strategy-focused games. And then that's how he got into it. I was like, look, I found this really cool strategy game. And then 3 days later, like a week later, I texted my dad. I was like, hey, I hit level 4. And he texted me back. He's like, I'm already level 8. I was like, okay, let's go. So
I was going to say, who's the higher level now?
I actually finally just surpassed my dad in AP. So.
All right. And is your dad as involved with the game?
My dad? No.
Yeah.
Sadly, my dad doesn't really do much anymore except throw axes on the occasional portal.
Okay.
Hey, well, that's still helpful. You can only do 2 yourself. You need another person with you.
Yep, really, exactly. Yeah, I really missed playing with him, but it's okay. He's busy.
But so you live locally together, and so every once in a while you have gone out.
Yes. Well, going to the local community college, I still live in my parents' house, so.
That's convenient.
Do you play any other like strategy or board games nowadays with any regularity?
Not really. I mean, well, I feel like I'm in like a strategy type group for an Xbox game called Battlefield 4. So we have like different strategies that we use, although it's not necessarily a strategy game.
Oh. I'll have to check that out. Although my Xbox has gotten kind of dusty ever since I picked up Ingress.
It seems like it, right? Well, do you guys play any other games currently together?
Battlefield 4, Call of Duty, a little bit of Xbox, but other than that, not really.
Okay. Well, I mean, something that's different about Ingress is the storyline of the game that has introduced some interesting characters. And I mean, Mason, is there a particular character that you've maybe identified with, or an event that changed the way you played the game?
To be completely honest, I know absolutely nothing about the storyline. I follow everything Ingress except for the storyline. I just never got into it, I guess. Um, but my favorite would be Susanna Moyer because she's awesome. So.
She truly is, and a friend of the show. So, Atis, do you identify with any characters from the game? Or has an event from the story made you rethink the strategy of the gameplay?
Not really. I don't identify myself with someone, but I must admit that I like the consequences of Devor's virus, and I think that you had to actually play more to get the portals at some level, not you because you couldn't recharge anything. But otherwise, no, the storyline is pretty separate from the actual gameplay. Well, I do follow it. It's interesting to read.
Okay. Well, I mean, speaking of the virus and everything, so what are your thoughts on the whole XM drought that we're experiencing?
It's not as much. It doesn't have that much consequences as the Ever's virus had, because you get a lot of cubes now. And actually, I never been short of cubes.
All right. Note to self.
Yeah, I knew there was a reason that I was keeping some of my MUFG capsules with cubes in it. I knew this day would come. So,
a valuable commodity for sure.
So speaking of the storyline, before we move on to the rest of the interview, it's going to be time now for the Weekly Truth. And this week we have Operation Essex to catch us up on some of those developments. I hope we talk about the XM drought. Everyone, please welcome Operation Essex investigator David Timothy. Welcome, David.
Hello. Holy, yeah, wow. It's actually been a pretty eventful week in the world of the investigation, the whole Ingress investigation. There's been a lot going on. We've got the name of the anomaly that was announced last Thursday. I don't remember if that happened in time for the show last Thursday or not, so we'll talk about it a little bit. And then going into what's happened with the glyphs and the power cubes. Let's dive right into that. Get my screen sharing turned on here, and we will go right here to a post from Ingress, actually, where they finally went public with the name of the anomaly series. Agents, yeah, that might be difficult to read. It's a public post from Ingress on Google+, where they announced the name of the anomaly series is Aegis Nova. Now, there was quite a bit of talk about what this meant. You know, Aegis quite clearly is indicative of a shield. You know, a shield that was used. It pops up a few different places in mythology, but Nova is something that certainly inspired quite a bit more discussion as to what it meant. You know, the literal translation of Nova indicates something new. But we've also got that connotation that comes with like a supernova, when a star goes nova and it explodes. So there's conjecture that either this anomaly series is going to either produce a different shield, a new shield, or an explosion of the obsidian shield that's now blocking XM flow out of the portals. Now, as far as repairing the damage that's happened, as far as getting rid of the obsidian shield goes, we had this leak pop up from P.A. Chapeau, a certain glyph sequence. And as you notice, this image that he posted is composed of cubes with images superimposed on them. Now, those images led people to go to certain portals. Once they figured out where those portals were in the world, they were able to go to those portals and hack them, which is a really cool thing. When they, I really like it when you see Niantic putting out special clues from portals around the world that lead to bits of the storyline and such. And as they assembled these glyphs, these images came together to create a message, and you can see the investigators assembled it, the parts that they could get their hands onto, and it created a message that was all portal, adapt, nourish, grow. once the investigators had assembled that image, Oliver Linton Wolf, who had been working on this behind the scenes with Jahan, let us know that the recovery of this glyph sequence has unlocked large stockpiles of power cubes. So he says, you'll find them in the portals around you. Use this resource wisely, it will help you for now. I am deeply engrossed in seeking longer-term solutions for the XM crisis caused by the Obsidian Shield, and when I choose to pursue something, as most of you know, I find what I'm looking for. Oliver Linton Wolf has always been fun with the rhetoric. He talks big, but he's actually pretty good at carrying through with it. He's the mad scientist of the Niantic Project. He's one of my favorite characters. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to meet him yet in real life. Hopefully sometime I will. But yeah, power cubes all over the place. And like he said, it's a temporary solution to the problem. It's a way, stopgap to help us get through this lack of XM around the portals. But I certainly don't mind having a few extra power cubes. And then there's actually a really interesting piece of media that came out earlier today that I haven't had a lot of time to dig into. But Jahan is finally coming back to Hank because, during Obsidian, she was trying to activate the Obsidian Shield just like the Acolyte was. They were both pursuing the Obsidian Shield, and Jahan thought the Obsidian Shield would block the Shapers. The Acolyte thought the Obsidian Shield would block the Nazir, and it turned out to just block all of the XM coming out of the portals. So, and the first line in that media drop from today makes it pretty clear. She says the Obsidian Shield was a trap, and now XM has become precious and threatened. And Hank says, I don't want to say I told you so. And Jahan admits that he was right. And throughout this media drop, this conversation that they had, they go back and forth, and Jahan makes it clear that she wants to work with Hank again. She wants to help find a solution to this. Now, who knows what her true motivation is? It looks like she's kind of a little disillusioned now. She says here towards the middle of it, the voices that speak to us from beyond, the Shapers, the Nazir, they are far more complex and impure in their motives than I had believed. I feel betrayed. To which Hank replies, I know the feeling. So there's a lot that we're going to learn yet now about the Obsidian Shield, the mechanic by which it worked, and also Aegis Nova, what it is. Jahan says, I've also learned about the Aegis Nova. And Hank says, I've heard that phrase way too many times to not know more about it. What is it? A new shield improved somehow? The destruction of the existing Obsidian Shield? What do you know? To which Jahan replies, either, both. Why can't we work together like we did before, Hank? If you want to know the answers, you'll have to pick a side. So Jahan's really trying to bring Hank back into the fight here. Hank had taken a kind of a neutral position on a lot of things because he wasn't a real strong. He definitely wasn't a fan of the Acolyte, and he was certainly no longer a fan of Jahan after her betrayal. But she certainly seems to want to bring him back into this fight to use his knowledge to try and find a longer-term solution to the XM drought. So I'm confident that throughout this Anomaly series, Aegis Nova, that a solution will be found. It's just a matter of when and what else do we have to do? Is there going to be something like what happened in the past with the portal virus, or is this something that's going to come through the Anomaly series rather than a separate event? So those are questions that we hope to see the answers to soon as the investigation continues.
Do you have any theories?
Both of those things that I talked about, right? It could be something like the portal virus, where we had to go and increase MU counts worldwide to above a certain threshold. That's that's the best thing that's coming to mind right now. There's certainly all kinds of crazy ideas floating out there, like keep all your portals charged, use all your power cubes. Who knows? You know, capture all the portals or let them all go gray or something silly like that. But you know, there's all kinds of things. You know, and it could just depend on the victor of the next anomaly series, the upcoming May anomalies and the June anomalies. So we'll see.
You gotta stay tuned and find out. Thank you so much, David. Always a pleasure to see you around Operation Essex, and it's just very enlightening.
Pleasure to speak to you too. Thank you.
All right.
I could add the stuff on the word Nova, because Aegis is Greek word and Nova is not Greek word. It is Italian word. So I don't think the Nova means new.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Learn something new.
We'll have to keep an eye out on that.
Discuss at the Operation Essex site.
Yeah. Very cool.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Well, so this is something that everyone always looks forward to, and maybe there are some power cubes involved in this. I don't know. But please welcome back to the show Andrew Crew from Niantic with the code of the show. Andrew, you know, come through with some of those power cubes, right?
I'm not sure. I don't know what's in these. We never know what's in them. They're maybe good for 20 or 500 or 5,000 reshares. They might have power cubes. They might have level 1 resonators, which you could recycle for XM. But without further ado, let's do this. Boom. So much more responsive this week. There you go. Last week I was in the West Coast office, and this week I guess my basement is considered the East Coast office? I don't know.
So.
It's where the magic happens.
We don't, I don't have hint water on tap or, you know, personal zip cars to take me around the office like we do there. Magic unicorns flying everywhere. But let's see. So if you're fast and you're in our chat, why don't you tell us what's in there? Because I'm curious. It always seems like there's one giant long one and one shorter one. I think that's done to challenge people.
Andrew, was that like a special hat that they only give the staff? That's really cool. Or is it a patch?
This is a patch. It's so when I go places, you know if I'm playing or if I am in an official role. I can
swap. So we can see the difference. I get it.
So when it's got the Enlightened logo, then I'm playing. My scanner's going to be out.
Yes, and then that's when you have to well, that's when resistance should be about
I have to be careful about the secrets and all that. So, yeah.
Now, is that Velcro? You could put a GoRuck patch on there?
I could put a GoRuck patch on there. I've got a cross-faction patch ready to go. I've got a whole bunch of patches ready to go. And there's Velcro on the sides and on the top, just in case I want to put something up there. A little spinner.
How about a beer cozy?
Oh, that could work. That could work. You know, Savannah is the Red Solo Cup anomaly. Yeah, it'll be perfect. All right, guys.
Will you be on site for any of the anomalies, Andrew?
So I don't know that that's confirmed yet, but my goal is to definitely be, yes, my goal is to definitely be on site at least two of them. So, still working those details. Brooklyn would be.
Actually, sounds pretty exciting too. I think that we should have like a little BTS guest deployment over there. So you know, not that we're sponsored or anything by Niantic, but you know,
we definitely had the awesome BTS Oakland. That was pretty awesome.
Exactly. So you know, hey Niantic, you know, I think Nice reunion. I think that's, you know, where it's at. In fact, Kelly and we could be on the beach.
I personally would like to go to Sydney as well. Go down under, you know, fight the bears, play Pokemon Go, right?
That would be fun. That would be fun too. So either way, all
That's
right.
codes
Very
out there. And read
Everyone
it.
got the code?
I think they do now. They don't. I hope it's in all the code chats and everything. If not, you want to get new teammates, maybe. Not really. All right, Andrew. Thanks for coming back.
Take care, guys.
And yeah, I appreciate all that. And now it's time to move on to our next segment, Inside the Scanner with Dean Nielsen from FevGames. This segment is going to break down the app, updates and new features, as well as changes to the game mechanics. All right, thanks for being here, and I like your little branding behind you there, the fire movement.
It's a little competition we have. You guys hear me okay?
Oh, yes, yes, we can.
All right. So, yeah, first of all, you know, all those XM problems that we've been having lately, it really only amounts to one thing. It's nothing so much to deal with something inside the scanner, but it has to do with Moo. So just blame him. As far as some things that we saw recently in the scanner, we saw the Upsite site being used. Now, if you remember right, we first saw Upsite originally in the scanner during version 1.89. We saw it again with version 2 and 1.94, and again with version 3 and 1.95.1 of the scanner. And that's just basically something that popped up and said, hey, we're going to get all these power cubes. You probably saw it in your task tray of your phone when you looked at it. We also have a GoRuck score analysis coming out probably Monday. It was going to be for Friday, but we're shooting it back to fine-tune a little bit more, and it'll be on Monday. And it'll give an accurate estimate of the scores and everything like that of how the scoring went down for the various events in across the board in the sites, and how it affects the anomaly results. And a couple things else we'd like to push out is, of course, don't forget Ingress for Saturday for next month. Be sure to register for that. And really, that's about all we have at the moment.
Exciting stuff, gotta tell you. Well, thanks so much for being on, and yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Thanks for having me on.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, I love what they do over there at FevGames. That has been really cool.
It really is.
Yeah. If only we had time to do like a website or a show or
Hey,
just kidding.
you know what? We're always looking for new ideas, so maybe.
Yeah. So, okay, let's get back to our guests. I wanted to bring up a little bit of time so that our guests can maybe brag a little bit about some of their accomplishments. Mason, how about you start? Tell us about an Ingress accomplishment that you're most proud of.
Well, I was most proud of blocking a lot of resistance fields over Austin, but actually, while I'm a guest on the show, they like literally just fielded the city, so I can't brag about that one. What I can brag about though is favorite field that I like to brag about is the Austin Shonen field, which we put up about 10 minutes before the first measurement started, and stayed up for about 6 hours, and that was when fields and anomalies were worth the most, so we got a ridiculous amount of points just for that one field.
And what capacity did you serve for that field?
Being the main fielder guy in Austin, I was designated as the the field team lead. So me and a couple other guys, we found really good anchors, and then I organized all the blocker clearing chats, all the operators, got everyone in place. And then I actually ended up being one of the people to throw one of the layers from one of the anchors. And so that was pretty cool. And I ended up making it back to the anomaly in time, the third measurement, so I could still see everyone while the field was up. It's pretty nice.
Wow, yeah,
Nice.
that is cool. Yeah.
And all while doing the speed limit too, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and Atis, how about you? What's an Ingress accomplishment that you're most proud of?
Well, since we started talking about shards, and I think we are not getting any more the real shards jumping around the world, I could tell a story about when I was operator for a few Finnish guys who drive all the way to the Vadso to steal a shard from there. It was pretty exciting. They had to drive for like 20 hours or more, then stay there for 18 hours because the jump was 6 hours, and carefully clear all the blockers, make some distraction maneuvers, and then we finally got those shards away all the way to the Washington, D.C. That was pretty amazing what I did.
Yeah, definitely a lot of work. So I'm curious though, when given your different locations and the different languages, how do you communicate with each other? Is it actually through English?
Yeah, of course, we speak English. Everybody in Ingress speaks English.
All right. I don't want to take it for granted being American that that everyone must speak English, but it's still really interesting to know that wherever you are going to be able to play and communicate. Very fun. And meeting new people and discovering new places are a couple of the highlights that many of us enjoy about the game. Atis, are there any places that you've gone that other than Paris that you might not have visited otherwise? Or I guess I'm sorry, Paris was, you haven't played Ingress there, but what are some places that you did explore that you would probably never have gone?
Actually, no, because I like to travel anyway. I traveled a lot in the last 10 years before Ingress, so I've been pretty much in every corner of Europe. Now I'm just going to the same places. Well, I haven't been in a graveyard in Barcelona before, but, these are the small details.
Got it. And how about you, Mason? Any destinations that you wouldn't have known about or ever bothered to visit if it weren't for Ingress?
Yes, absolutely. The most prominent one that comes to mind is Trinity site, which was, it's in New Mexico, and it was the site of the first nuclear bomb testing. It used to be that it was open once a year, and there's a portal there. So once a year, people, like Ingress agents and normal people from all over the world, would flock to the site, and then pretty much the object is to try and be the team controlling it when everyone leaves. But that's one of the places I would have never gone without Ingress.
Yeah, it sounds pretty scary going to these nuclear sites, although one time I think I was exploring in Pennsylvania and ended up at 3 Mile Island, which as a kid, it was a big scary site for, I think there was some kind of explosion at the power plant. And oh my gosh, it's actually this beautiful countryside now. But yeah, so it is a really great reason to go out and visit places.
It is interesting because those places tend to just go forgotten until something like this comes up. And there is a place outside of Chicago. It's where the Manhattan Project and University of Chicago, handled some of the nuclear testing. And so the rocks all say, do not dig, which is probably a good idea to not dig around for. So, okay, anyone else watching? Please remember that you can submit questions to us for our guests. We're going to ask them just a few minutes here, so get your last questions in now. If you're watching via YouTube, you have to click the banner at the bottom of the video that says Be Part of the Conversation. And from there, just click the square grid menu icon in the upper right and select Q&A. And you can also join us in the chat room, behindthescanner.com. All right, so we're looking forward to asking some of those questions, but now we still have a couple of our own I'd like to get through. So Ingress has connected so many people across the entire globe, and it's helped us all form these lasting friendships and a strong sense of community. That's one of those things that I really like about the game myself. And I'd like to ask our guests, what can you tell us about your local community and what makes it unique? Mason, tell us a little bit about yours.
One thing that I think that makes our community unique, that even other communities comment on, is that our community seems to be pretty hardcore compared to most. It if it comes down to, someone pitches a field idea, the next thing you know, 12 hours later, Austin is under about 30 layers of green. So we have a lot of people that are, willing to stay out to like 4 and 5 a.m., drive to the ends of the earth just to get accomplished whatever the goal is.
Are there a lot of things open at 4 in the morning for you guys to
in Austin?
Visit?
Yes, pretty much, but to visit, no.
Yeah, it seems like Denny's should be one of the next Ingress partners, since it seems like a lot of the late night teams
gas stations.
Get
Yep.
food.
Yeah, Denny's and 7-Eleven and Sheetz and Wawa and I don't know, whichever, in the different geographic areas. But man, I had never eaten at so many gas stations until this game. There could be a guidebook too, or maybe your own little a new show. Ingress, gas stations, and batteries or something.
Which, Daphne, for you to go eat at a gas station makes me so sad. Because I know you love food.
You know what? There is some good food at gas stations, and I do enjoy me some Sheetz. But yes, if you come and visit in DC, there is actually an excellent gas station just down the street from me that has some amazing sandwiches.
Awesome.
If anyone who's in the local area, I'll be happy to share that place. It's pretty rocking. Hey,
Atis, how about your local Ingress community? What makes it unique?
Well, I'm not recently involved much in it, but I remember the old times when there were way less players and we had to actually coordinate and get over the challenges like building the first level 6 portal and then level 7 portal. And of course the first level 8 portal in the country where we got the help from the few Russian players who were visiting. We actually had to hide the resonators for a week until we got our players leveled up, so that was pretty interesting.
Hiding the resonators.
Yeah, there was a visiting player. We calculated which portal she should capture and leave their level 8 resonators for a week until we got our players together.
Oh, okay. That's very strategic. You guys are probably, I think, two of the most strategic players we've had together. So, Atis, then what is more rewarding to you, aside from the strategic stuff, but the building and fielding or smashing it down, and why?
Well, I still got a gold linker and fielder, and I wish there was a medal for destroyed links and fields, because I would got immediate platinum for that. And well, the problem is I usually don't have enough resonators to deploy full portal. Also, I'm not
hiding them.
I'm reciting them, yeah, and I'm not patient enough to just stand there and just deploy because it takes time. If there would be a button like to have a fully deployed portal immediately, like use once in a minute, that would be nice. When I'm with friends, I'm linking, but otherwise, I'm just not patient enough.
Great, I hear you about that. And Mason, how about you? Field or smash? Why?
Is the answer blocking fields? Because I find that the most rewarding out of anything in the game. Whereas when they have 2 links covering Austin and you put one in between where their third link should go, that's probably my favorite part. It's blocking fields, so defense.
So I want to think back, dig deep into your memories, both of you, and think back to the very first portal that you visited. Atis, I think this would be, December of 2012 for you. What was the first portal that you went to, and what did you do? Did you hack it? Did you attack it? Did you even know what you were doing at that time?
Oh yeah, I remember it pretty good, and it's a pretty funny story because it was really cold December night, something like -30 around outside, and well, I got invite. I went out, something like 1 kilometer to the nearest 2 portals. I got to the first one. It's green. Okay, I tried hacking it, and it zapped me. I didn't know what to do. I started running away. And Well, that's not it. That's not why I remember it that good. And there was another portal nearby, so I went to it, tried to take my gloves off, and I dropped my phone on the ice. So I was
Oh,
without
man.
phone for a week. Yeah, screen completely broken on after my first hack.
Wow.
Oh, no. That's the very first Ingress injury.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And how long did it take for you to get back to the game?
Well, a few weeks, and after that I did forgot about the game. So I got back a bit later.
It's a good thing you picked it back up. And so Mason, how about you? Did you have any help getting your first portal? Were you winging it? Tell us a little bit about your experience.
So I just told you how I found Ingress, and then immediately after I found it, joined the Enlightened, opened up the scanner, and it said there's a portal, 4 kilometers away, like in the scanner view. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's a portal 4 kilometers away. I have to go see it, because I didn't know how dense portals were at this time. I thought there was maybe 3 in the state of Texas. Anyways, so I drove up to it, and then the game told me to hack it. And same thing as Atis, it attacked me, and I was like, oh my gosh! I put my car in drive, tried to get out of the rage, but it still zapped me. And then I was like, oh, it's okay, I'm okay. And then for the longest time, I thought the game, if your XM bar ever got to 0, you would lose or die, or you'd have to start over or something. So until I was level 5 or something, I never ever let my XM bar go to 0.
Oh wow. That would be a very scary thing to go through right now with the XM drought. But
yeah, it's affecting. Yeah.
We all survived. I know there were lots of funny superstitions that we all had early on in the game. I actually thought you had to walk around to place every single resonator. So one of the first portals I visited was a library, and they must have thought I was crazy because I was walking around like, hey, I'm going to put my resonator over here by this fence. It'll be really hard to take out. So we were all young once.
Yep.
All right, well, are you guys ready for some viewer questions? All right, we have got a few. The first one for Atis. What would you change about the way the anomalies are played if you could?
Yeah, I would give people more time to relax. Well, it would take probably more time or less measurements because, well, especially on the shards, I did hear that people are getting pretty tired and the inventory is not as big as you wish.
Okay. And Mason, what would you change?
I really appreciated the days when fielding was worth a lot of points. Nowadays, it's worth, I think, 30% of the opponent's score, but I'm more in favor of the field just adding, a flat score to your team. It's a little more rewarding that way.
Right. Okay, and Mason, while I'm with you, Wiley asks, what happened to your 3 shards in Corpus?
Well, Wiley is my rival from Houston. We get together every single time, burn each other's town. Yep. Anyways, so that's the first time that I ever met him, is at the Shards there in Corpus Christi, and we spent, I don't know, 8 hours next to an abandoned post office, sitting next to each other, trash talking. It was pretty exciting. Anyways, something happened. We thought we either thought that we inoculated it properly or that we had enough agents remaining on site. Anyways, whatever the case was, I was going to go try and get some sleep, maybe 2-3 hours.
Ooh,
and then when I woke up, they had stolen it, and it was well on their way to wherever the resistance were sending it. So, I know.
Just reward, as I think they were probably thinking. Okay, so Blades Edge NZ, hi. Once was asking, well, Atis, what is your favorite badge?
From the anomaly medals or just all of them? I don't really know. I wish for destroyed links and fields, but, well, if that's not an option, maybe the recursion one.
Maybe the what?
Recursion.
Oh, okay. All right. And actually, that's a good question for you as well, Mason. Do you have a favorite badge?
Illuminator. Yep.
Okay.
Sitting just over 207 million MU. So that's my favorite.
Is there? Did you get that all at? I mean, not really all at once, but what was there a specific deal that really brought you to beyond over the top?
So when the badge came out, I had 50 million, and for whatever reason, it glitched so that my badge was locked for a little while. But then when it came to, I had about 50 million, and then where I got a majority of it, I'd say about 120 million possibly, is from a field that we did over all of South Texas. It was just over 8 million a layer with help from Louisiana and West Texas, and really all over the state. We ended up getting, I think, 51 layers up.
Okay. And all right, for Atis, with your involvement in anomalies over the years that you've seen, I mean, so much, how have the early anomalies changed from the modern ones?
Oh, well, I think a lot, because the first anomaly was I was in Berlin Recursion, and I was pretty new at everything. I didn't know much what to do. And, well, thanks to the people who teach me, and I still remember the picture. I'm arriving at the shard target, and there's like hundreds of people standing around it. Well, you don't see that much anymore.
Right, yeah, you don't. And well, you know, since you're involved in the sort of the chess game that is Ingress globally, what have been or what's one of the moments that you've seen agents go above and beyond the game? I mean, any relationships founded, crazy excursions, or maybe the most amazing thing you've witnessed either on the ground or behind the intel map?
Is that for me?
Yes, I'm sorry, for you, and then actually, I think that'll be a question for Mason as well.
I don't know.
This person's writing whether this is for both.
The people are really traveling around all the time, and there are events happening. Like, okay, let's make a party in that city that month, and you see like a dozen people from all around Europe are just arriving there just for the party.
Very fun. How about you, Mason?
Some of the craziest stuff I've seen in one of the fields that I was planning, I was like, hey, I need 3 keys to this portal. And someone was like, well, you can only get there by a helicopter. And then 30 minutes later, someone was like, here's enough money to go rent a helicopter. And I was like, what? Okay.
And
so
done.
That was kind of out there. But hey, it worked.
Yeah. And let's see. And I'm going to start with you. This is actually also for both of you. We all deal with many aspects of TOS violations on both a global and local scale. How would you see the best path forward for Niantic to address these issues?
Well, I think there should be some kind of detective work, because so far it doesn't seem that Niantic is doing any. There's a lot of proof that locals can get, and can, with some help from Niantic, they could really solve the most violators. And yeah, it's well, the issue is on both sides, so you should check with both factions. Like, is that really happening? And talk to them, talk to the people.
Okay. How about you, Mason? Any recommendations?
Well, how they should start addressing them, I guess. Well, to begin addressing them, there are, I suppose, also community feedback, because there are a lot of ways to catch the TOS violations that are happening, but I just don't seem to see much, coming back from Niantic, if anything at all. So.
There's another question from Kelly, and since you're already here, feel free to ask yourself.
Okay. So yeah, Mason, your friend Marlon told me that we should call you JT. What is up with this nickname?
for whatever reason, it was like selfie day in one of the communities that I'm in. I'm in like a fielding community for the Eastern United States. The Green Goblins, shout out to them. They're pretty awesome. Anyways, selfie day, we're all taking selfies. I posted mine, and then Marlon was like, "You look like Justin Timberlake." And so everyone started posting all these pictures of Justin Timberlake and like photoshopping my face onto his face and vice versa. So that's kind of where that started. I guess it never died.
Cameron Diaz. Is that the one who's with Justin Timberlake?
I don't know much about him. They keep quoting the like Lonely Island songs, all the inappropriate stuff. So
okay. Well, if only.
Did you say you don't know who Justin Timberlake is?
I mean, I know who. I'm of the younger generation, so I don't necessarily keep up with everything.
Wow. Okay. That's strange to me. Justin Timberlake, JT is legit.
Yeah.
Real deal.
Okay, I will look into it.
You may enjoy some of his earlier work.
All right. Take your word for it.
All right. Well, now we've got that time for our BTS tradition. For better or for worse, we give every guest at the end of their interview 60 seconds to talk about whatever they want, or give a shout out, or display a talent. So whenever you're ready, Atis, why don't you go ahead and start?
Okay, yeah, I want to say thank you to all the people who helped me to improve, who trusted me, assisted me, taught me. There's a lot of them. And, well, hi to the guys down at Section 2, hi to the level 16 guys, and cheers. This is the best beer in Latvia. If you get here, try it.
What is it? Maybe we should
hold that up.
Yes, hold that up. Yeah. And what is the name of that?
It's called Užavas.
Užavas.
I don't know if that's available here, but
cheers.
So Prost.
Nazdravia.
That was Polish.
Or Slovenian, actually.
Just not Latvian.
Just not, yeah.
Prieka.
We'll have to learn how to say cheers in every language on this show. That should really be one of our default questions.
One of our new goals.
All right, so are we going to give Marlon his, or I'm sorry. I have Marlon on the brain, apparently. Mason. No, it's just those guys in Texas with their M names. Mason, here's your 60 seconds, if you're ready. Take it away, JT.
All right. Ready. All right. Shout out to Marlon. Let's see. Shout out to my local community because they're awesome. Hang in there. Ignore the drama. Shout out to the Green Goblins for cheering me on and sending me all the most embarrassing texts possible during this interview. Shout out to the Awesome Resistance for fielding me while I'm on BTS and unable to do anything about it. And,
but they are watching. You did get that question.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much all. Oh, and shout out to Daniel Musto, Overlord of the Enlightened, down there in Florida. That's it.
I might have heard of that guy. I don't know.
Yeah, that guy.
All right. Well, thank you, Mason. Thank you, Atis. It was great having you here tonight.
Thank you.
Good night. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for being with us tonight. And everyone, we hope to see you back next week.
We had a couple other great guests. Ooh, and I am liking the new graphics. Thanks, Lisa.
Sorry, the noise is totally not working. Like, it should be playing music right now, but it really isn't.
It's just Clay's art.
I think, Walter, you should sing.
Okay.
I can sing.
I'm mesmerized by the graphics.
No.
Yeah, it makes music in your head when you read the glyphs to yourself.
There you go.
Hey, thank you all.